You know what? I've never gone through so many seals in a big block Mopar in my life. This is the last shot with this old Leaky 383. I put a rope seal and it better work.
Nick's Garage is supported by Atlas Equipment and K-Tool International. Welcome back to Nick's Garage and the Dyno Room. This reinforced cell at the back of the shop is where Nick tests and tunes the engines he builds, bringing them to peak performance. But occasionally, this room is where Nick takes on frustrating challenges, like this persistently leaky 383 Mopar that had already stumped multiple mechanics before it came to Nick's. But unlike those who tried before him, Nick has not given up on this numbers-matching muscle car engine.
Hi, my name is Nick and welcome to my shop. Yeah, if you guys take a good look here, if you have heard or seen the last few videos on the Leaky 383, well, here it is. Kendall, the owner of this 383, that belongs to a 68 Charger, I believe he's changed the seal 9 or 10 times and it's still leaking. And now this rope seal I just installed now on this engine is the 4th one I've done, and this is the 4th time on the dyno. And you know, I've been reading the comments and some of the viewers are saying, Nick, why don't you use a thicker bearing? Yeah, the only time you use a thicker bearing is when it's undersized, and that's towards the crankshaft journal. That's where the wear and tear is, between the bearing and the crank, not between the bearing and the block. So when you do a line bore, when they cut it, it's back to the original factory specifications on the saddles where the crankshaft sits. The bearings you buy are undersized, that means they're thicker towards the crankshaft, not towards the block. So in this case, you know, somebody, I believe that line boarded, went too deep, brought it up too much, or should I say they cut too much on the main caps, and then they passed a long drill to make a nice and straight factory specifications. And like I said earlier, the crank gets raised in the saddles, but the seal cavity still stays in the same place. So the crank is raised, the seal is still there. So what's happening is the upper half of the seal is getting more compressed than the lower seal. So at the same time, you take the retainer and you trim it so it can sit higher. But what you're doing is you're taking the seal that's a perfect circle. Then when you retainer, you're raising the lower half. What you're doing is you're doing this to the seal. And inside that rubber invited seal, there's a piece of metal. So you cannot cut it and shrink it. So that's out of the question. I also tried a fast fish seal. It's worked before in other engines, but not on this one.
So after trying all kinds of different modern rear main seals on old Leaky, Nick has installed a new crankshaft with knurling and a brand new old school rope seal.
It better work, because you know what? I'm running out of ideas. I'm running out of time, which I did. I'm trying to get this engine fixed. I did not put this on the clock. I just want to get it done so I can deliver it to Kendall. So I'm going to start her up, and even during warm-up time, I haven't started yet. It's a cold engine, as you guys can see. And I'm going to start her up, and I hope it doesn't leak. I just hope it doesn't. If it does, what do? Do I throw in the towel? Let's find out. And if it still leaks, people are going to say it's probably the block. But you know what? If it was the block, I remember when I first built the engine, and then we put a second seal because we had it on the dyno, it leaked oil. Then I changed the seal, then put it back on the dyno, and it did not leak. My customer took it home, put it in the car, he drove it for a while, never leaked, and then it started leaking after a while, maybe 100 miles or so. But if it was the block, it would have been leaky right from the beginning. So we know it's not the block, so it's got to be the seal. So now I installed the rope seal, and I hope that it works. Okay, here we go. Oh, at the same time, if it does not leak oil on the seal, I'll be happy, because now I've not tested it with the exhaust manifolds and its original carburetor. We've taken off the headers, we've taken off the Eldorado carburetor, And now we've gone to the original carb, original manifolds with a little cam. So after, if it does leak no oil, I'm gonna do a test to see what kind of power it's gonna perform. Let's go. Now it's all original with the rope seal the way it came from the factory. Let's do it. You know, someone told me, Nick, aren't you ever gonna give up on it? You know what? I've never gone through so many seals in a big block Mopar in my life. I've done an old Mopar many years ago with a rope seal. It worked. But this one here, I don't know, for some reason, I don't know. Let's get it started, see how it goes. Oh, it's got oil in the cylinders, eh? Okay, we're gonna see some smoke coming out of the exhaust because we had the engine upside down and some of the oil went into the chamber. So let me get it going and let it burn out. I'll put the fan on. That's what happens when you turn an engine upside down and you do not remove the cylinder heads. Okay, there goes everything. All right, let it run and see what happens. Let's go. Oil pressure's good. Water temperature 86. Okay, you know what? Let's see how it goes. Fingers crossed, man. You know, I'm gonna wait for the oil to get hot. I should have put the oil temperature, which I did not. It doesn't matter, you know, I know when it leaks. So you know what, just let it run, let it get hot. And if it goes well, let's beat it. Let's beat it. And now we've got his manifolds and his carburetor on, which we've never tested for horsepower and torque. So we're gonna try it and see how it goes. But first, I'm concerned about the oil leak in the rear seal. Let's go take a look. Give it time. Give it time.
If you've ever been to the bank or waited in line for food with Nick, you know that patience is not always his strong suit. So these long minutes watching the 383 warm up must feel like an eternity for him. On previous attempts to stop the oil leak, there was already a puddle of oil forming at this point. But Nick isn't ready to call it a win yet. He knows he has to be patient now.
So far so good, but I've got oil in the chambers because I had the engine upside down, and of course some of the oil dripped into the chambers. I had the spark plugs out because we had the crankshaft removed and replaced with the engine upside down without removing any pistons or connector rods or any cylinder heads. So we got another crankshaft with a knurl, with a rope seal, and had it also balanced to the original crankshaft, and hope it goes well. So let's see how it goes. So far, so good, eh? So far, so good. But you know what? I gotta give it a lot of time. I don't. I just find it hard to believe it's not leaking yet. But you know what? It looks good so far. You know, you want to get the oil nice and hot. And if everything goes well, we're going to rev it up a little bit. And if everything goes well again, then we're going to start doing some testing and bring it up to 5,000 RPM. And hopefully it does good, decent power. And of course, the seal holds in place. Give it some time, we'll see how it goes. Let's put it on idle. Okay, we'll bring it up a little bit. So good.
The initial start and warm-up are going well. The engine is sounding good. But then Nick sees something he doesn't like. A single drop of oil appears on the pan under the 383. The lone drop hit the pan just a little further forward than where it would have had it come from the rear main seal. Nick snugs down the bolts around the oil pan and crosses his fingers. one drop. One lousy drop.
I'm not sure yet, I'm gonna leave it. We're gonna have to rev it up. I'm going to do a test without the PCV valve. I want it to breathe. Okay, we got one little drop. I'm going to make a test right now. Here we go. That's all I've seen so far. I'm not going to bother, I'm leaving it. Let's make a test. Here we go. I'm not going to bother with that right now. Okay, let's go outside and see what happens. I'm not worried about the test right now. I want to see. I'm waiting. I'm gonna let it run. I'm gonna let it run and run and run. So far, one little drop. Let me wipe it and we'll keep going. Here. Let's see what it did for power. Let's check for power. Here we go. A 383 came with 335 horsepower. Okay, we didn't make much on this one. 322. Okay, you know what? Looks like the carburetor is kind of small. Wow, it's a 1.6 vacuum on it at 5100 RPM. If you guys take a look.
We have to pause the action here for a little correction. Nick was so focused on testing the rear main seal and crank in this engine that he completely forgot to set the dyno specs before starting the test. He still has it set up for the previous engine, a 410 cubic inch stroker. So these numbers are not accurate.
From the factory, we made 335 horsepower. So I'm hoping to get 335 right from the factory. We were using the old original engine. I've raised the compression ratio on this. I've also cleaned the bowl area behind the intake valve. But what I noticed is that carburetor is too small for this application what we've got here. But I'm working with the original carburetor. It can make at least a few more horses with a bigger carb. Maybe I'll go with the other block later on. And in the meantime, if you guys take a look right over here, it's restricted. It's running out of air. If you guys take a look right here, 1.6, that means it's a bit too tight, the carburetor. But am I concerned about that? Not really. The performance on the engine is great. At one drop, I don't know. You know what? I'll just keep running and see how it goes. And you know what? We'll see. I'll make another test. I want to heat up the oil, rev it up. You know, I don't know if Kendall's going to rev it at 5,200 like I did. But that's extreme testing. I want to get the oil hot. And we'll see how it goes. I saw a drop there. I wiped it just to see how much further it's going to get. And I made a test. I didn't see another drop yet. But you know what? I'm not sure. Let's get another test going. Ready? I'm ready. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Another one. Did it leak oil? Let's take a look. Let's go take a look straight ahead. Ready? So far, so good. Okay, let me pair now with the air-fuel ratio. Yeah, it's a bit on the lean side. We're not doing too bad. 327 horsepower. Factory was 335. I got almost 390 foot-pounds of torque. Let's check the graph. And this is running on a single set of points. Not bad at all, eh? Are we looking for power? No. What we're looking for is an oil leak. Power's not bad. It is it's a stone stock, practically 383. It's got the cast iron intake, the original carburetor, original intake, factory rockers, a little cam, and exhaust manifolds. So far, so good. But my concern, like I said, is the oil leak. So I still have it running. We just did a test. I want to go out there and see if it's still leaking. Or I should say, see if it is leaking. Waiting. So far, so good. I left it open so it could be vented. This valve closes. It's open right now. But when you floor it, this closes. Then it only got vent on only on the breather. Wow. You know what? We're going to make one more test. Leave the fan on, George, just to cool down the room, get the heat out. I'll make one more test. I'm just concerned about the oil leak. Power's not bad, you know, like, you know, they said from the factory rated 335 horsepower. And I don't think it was 335, you know, and we have more compression than we did back when this engine was brand new. And maybe they did a different way of reading the dynos or different fuels then, of course. You know, but overall, we're there in the ballpark figure, torque and horsepower. Sure, today fuels are not the same. And I know I've got a little bit more compression ratio than I did before. And of course, we just cleaned up the ball area. We got practically almost 330 horsepower. Factory rating was 330 or 335, I'm not sure, back in 68. But you know what? Overall, this is perfect. And my main concern is that seal. And so far, so good. So before I do call Kendall, I want to make another test and look at that seal. Because, you know, after all, I've done a lot of seals in this engine. I just find it hard to believe it's not leaking, you know what I mean? So I shouldn't say that. I should stay quiet. I'm sure that oil was 200 degrees Fahrenheit. But then again, you know, I want to get it hot. I want to make sure it's tested to the max. RPMs, hot oil, and the level might be just a little bit over, but I'm going to leave it. I don't care. I want to test it like that anyways. But overall, so far, I'm happy. I'm very happy. Come on, baby. Let's go. Oh. I want to see this. I can't believe I don't have nothing. I don't know where that one little drip came from before. Anyways, I'll make another run. I'm going to make another test now with the PCB valve connected. I want to see if this makes a difference. I'm going to make another test in a few minutes. I think we're gonna make one more test before I pull it off. We're gonna have the PC valve connected. It's gonna be more pressurized in the crankcase. The only way this engine's gonna breathe is through this breather. And this gets help from the air cleaner assembly. But since we don't have an air cleaner assembly, I'm just gonna remove it and make a test. It's like as if it's taking air from the air cleaner. This is a breather. It's not blocked. It's being washed. It's good. But this helps it with the air hose going through the air cleaner. It sucks the crankcase pressure out. But since I don't have an air cleaner, I'm going to do it like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You know what? Forget it. Leave it on. Let's try it. Here we go. I think we've done enough testing. Horsepower, torque is there. All right, here we go. Now this is for the seal. Are we ready? I'm waiting for the oxygen sensor to go on. Okay, here we go. Now let it run, and let's go take a look to see if it leaked any oil. Let's go. So far so good. PCB valve connected, breather on. Wait. So far, so good. $71 oil. $71. That's the oil temperature. Okay, that's good. Looks like it's good. I mean, I can't go any further than this. Come on, you guys. You know, I ran the oil hot. I made 3 tests. I'm gonna let idle a little bit longer, and I don't think Kendall's gonna rev it to 5,200 RPM. But then again, the only thing we do not know is that engine is not into movement. So when he accelerates hard and the oil goes towards the back of the seal, that we don't know on the dyno. That will be tested on the car. But in many cases, when it does not leak on the dyno, it does not leak in the car. Unless time will tell. So the only facts I got right now, it is not leaking right now. We had a little drip before, I don't know where it came from. I wiped it. I just did another test with the oil much hotter, and it's looking good. So all I can tell you is I'm not gonna go any further. I think I'm gonna leave it the way it is. I'm gonna rev it up. Give it up. All right. Kendall, I hope you're watching. This is your engine. I don't know how much, if you want to go any further testing, that's all I can do for you right now. So folks, there you have it. This is the Leaky 383 that I've been battling with the rear oil seal, and this is the 4th time I put on the dyno, and it looks so far so good. Yes, I have done rope seals in the past, but this is the first one I've done on this one. Maybe this is what I should have done in the first place, but anyways, we didn't know any better. You know, we learn as we go along. And also, for you guys to learn what's going on. So I want my viewers to see what's up as we go through. And you guys are asking if this was on the clock. No, this was not on the clock. The only thing I'm going to charge him for is another crankshaft, and that is it. After all, it's been in the dyno 4 times, and he's come all the way from Detroit to get it done, fixed, and be happy. And that's what I want. And these are the results. I don't know if I could do any much better than that. I did a couple of tests. I got some decent horsepower, got no leaks, no vibrations with the other crank because we had it balanced according to the paperwork on the previous crank that was balanced when I built this engine. So just want to let you guys know something. Many times on the big block Mopars, you don't need a line bore. I don't know why they did it to this one. And Kendall also mentioned that the crankshaft was replaced when they rebuilt the engine in Detroit. Now these engines are hard to beat up. I mean, they come with a forged crank, they come with a block that's a long, steep sidewalls, and very rare you do with line bore. Very rare you find a crankshaft that needs replacing. So they did a line bore, replaced the crankshaft. For what reason, I do not know. But anyways, it was my job to figure it out, put it all together, and get it right. And here it is, done. Hopefully it stays like that. Hopefully it doesn't leak. We'll only know in the future. But in the meantime, I think I've done the best I can, and there you have it. And I want to thank you guys for staying on board and watching me go through all these tests, changing things on this 383. And now you want to call it an old leaky 383? I don't know, call it what you want. But right now, for me, these are the results. Thanks you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow us to introduce the 383, formerly known as Old Leaky.
Let me call Kendall, tell him because he wants to come and pick it up, and of course he wants to put it back in his car. So I can't wait to give him the good news. Oh wow. And his carburetor works good. And he runs on a single set of points. Is that great or what? Well, I hope he's home. He told me to give him a call when it's ready, when it goes well. Kendall, how you doing? No, you know, well, you know what? I just finished doing some testing on your engine on the dyno. I made a few tests on it. I ran it hot, killed it, beat it. I connected the PCV valve to give it less pressure on the crankcase. And when I got it running, I saw one little drip. I don't know where it came from. I just tightened the pan, I cleaned it, and then I did a few tests. I ran it hot, I keep raving it, and nothing came out. So I can leave it on the dyno. If you want to come here tomorrow morning, you want to do further testing, it's all up to you. I think it's good. I think it's good. I mean, I ran it for quite a while, and I got the oil to 171 degrees, maybe 180, and so far so good. Okay. Okay, so I'm here Saturday too if you wish to pick it up. You're welcome. Okay, I'll see you then. Okay, bye. He was waiting for the good news. I gave him the good news, and you know what? It is an old engine. It's a rope seal. It's working. Much better can you do? I mean, I did the best I can. And I've also, didn't say this much earlier, I also replaced the retainer. That's the third retainer I put in that engine. Anyways, I just wanted to give it my best shot, and I finally did it. So in this case, old school, the rope seal did the job. And there you have it. This is what I go through sometimes. It might be a dream garage. My job is to get that engine done perfect. And this is what I've done. I've shown it to you guys, and I think I'm happy with it. And thanks for watching us here on Nick's Garage. And you guys, if you look down below the video, we have a whole bunch of merchandise that you guys can buy. So whatever you like, buy it, love it, wear it, and enjoy it. And help spread the word of Nick's Garage. And if you have some time, check out our Patreon page. We have extra content, and you guys can watch it and take it from there. And we'll see you next time.